Hi, welcome to Frazzle Dad's mini channel. I'm Jim, Frazzle Dad. This is an unedited dump of a painting session I had working on this piece, Cobalt from Scientific American. There's my face. This is unedited. It's there's times where I'm not on the screen because I'm overlooking at the computer or taking care of something there. But, if you want to just let this run, that's fine. This is rough stuff. I don't know if I'll keep doing these. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Let me know in the comments if you think this is something useful. Thanks. Enjoy it. Derp. solve that later. Alright, here's a bit on my setup. So over there I've got my humidifier, my wet palette, my thinning water, and then there's the paint cleaner doodad. Alright, back focused on the painting area. The camera. Oh, that works. All right. All right, so I'll do another video shortly on paintbrushes. I've got the Squidmar set of sable brushes that I got from Squidmar's Kickstarter. And frankly, I've been pretty disappointed with them. They fuzz out really badly, and I've used brush conditioner on them. I didn't used to be a brush licker, but had some friends advise me that if you're using non-toxic paint, be very careful about that, non-toxic, that saliva actually can help keep tips going. So I've been trying a little bit more on these. I've also got some Artist Opus brushes, Series S, that comes in this beautiful box. I've been really happy with these. I haven't had anywhere near the tip problems that I have with the Squidmar stuff. But again, I'm just going to give the Squidmar stuff a bit of trial today. That's the small. I think actually I'm gonna work with the large. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Derp. Here's the medium. That's what I want to work with. And notice that the tip on this has kept its shape. This is one I've been licking and using my saliva on, and yeah, never thought I'd be doing this at age 60, but there you have it. All right, so what do I want to work on? So hopefully this reads okay. I've done basic like volume highlighting, got the forehead, getting the definition around the cheek, parts of the lips, the nose. I think what I want to do is I need to extend this out a bit over this way, and then I want to try, I'm going to need some highlight over here as well at the top of his eyebrow. So I think I'm going to do a bit of something close to this color, extend out my highlighting where I need it, and then I'm going to focus on trying to smooth this transition here on the cheek into this much darker zone. So I'm going to be trying to work probably with mid-tone type colors after I get out of the highlighting. All right, so let's get after it. All right, so I'll bring this back over as I'm getting started here, and I was a dumbass with that paper towel because I got crap on my wet palette. Alright, so mid-tone or highlight color here. We're going to start off with some of the browns, and this is back to the heavy acrylic stuff, which is a very, very different color. I'm enjoying a different color, different texture. I'm really enjoying working with them, but it takes a little bit of noodling around to figure out where you're going and what you're doing with them. So the white and the sienna burnt red are not heavy body. Those are just the pro acryls. Who would have thunk it's hard just mixing paints? It's part of the learning process. So I'm getting closer there where I want, a little lighter, and I've got the paint too far up the body. I want to try to avoid getting it into the ferrule, so clean that out. So I'm twisting the brush, loading up the tip, get that out of the way, and now let's see how we're doing here. That it was way too brown. Not brown, yellow. So I was inconsistent with colors there because I grabbed a spot on the palette that was not well blended. It's not the end of the world. I mean, I'll smooth it out, but got different colors than what I first laid down, so I just need to fix that a bit. And now I'm going the other direction. So something that I had someone give me a tip about using sables, and I'm not great at it, but it helps when I do it, is rather than thinning on the palette, leave things fairly thick here, but have the brush fairly damp. And this is something I'm working on, not great at it. So I'll rinse it off in the rinse jar, give it a bit of a lick, get it in the clean water, knock some off, that's too loaded. Now I don't want to go to the paper towel because that'll suck a whole bunch of the water out. So I can either take and unload some on my palette, and I'm twisting while I do that, or I can give a quick touch to my mouth and get some more of that liquid out of there. But the brush now is pretty damp, and now when I load up, then the moisture is inside the brush, and I've got unthinned-ish paint on the tip. And then so as I'm applying it to the surface, it's the moisture in the brush that's sort of doing the thinning on the spot. And I'm probably explaining this poorly, and I'm not all that great at it yet, but I've found it an interesting way of and then hopefully you can see that there, it comes off of the brush really well, and I get good coverage. And I'm finding that this so far is working well for me about keeping better consistency on the figure, on the surfaces, because what am I trying to say here? Thinning turns out to be, for me, a struggle. I get it too thin, and then it just flows all over the place like a bad glaze. So this practice of rinse, wipe off, get some spit in there, dunk in the clean water, and this is all off camera, off frame, sorry, then rotate it on the wet palette, give it a quick lick. That seems to be a really good loading of moisture. And now I grab my color, and as I'm going over things, I'm intentionally back to something a bit lighter, that's okay. I'm finding that comes off of the brush really well, and it covers really well on the figure. But as with everything I do, I got a lot of work and practice to get better at it, but I'm finding it a good way at the moment. Okay, so these aren't perfect, that's okay. Now I'm going to work on smoothing out and transitioning this line here. So I need something between the highlight color and this little bit darker color here, because I'm going to be stitching across that, to feathering across that to try to get rid of this line and smooth it out from this zone into that zone. So I'm over playing around on the palette. Let's see how we do here. Alright, so that's not bad. So now I want something a little darker still. So before I was working, that last bit was from this area, that color. Now I've just added in a little more brown. I think I've got that too wet there. All right. Let's see how we do here. It's actually a little too diluted. It's not pulling off of there like I'd like. Okay, so more brown. I'm getting into this really dark area. You know what? I think I want just a smidge of this burnt sienna. And that stuff's really intense. You can see how much red it adds in there, so I'm trying to get some of that out of there. Let's see how this does. Okay, so I'm somewhat okay with this. It's still rough. Now let's come back up and have a go with these. So I need something back in the lighter area. Oh, too light. It's pretty yellow. I really like that. So I'm grabbing a little more heavy body. I'm kind of working out of the middle here. Let's see how that goes. It didn't suck. Okay, so now I want something darker to work on this line here, so that means a touch of that red and more brown. So now I'm working in here. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, that's okay. All right, this though, right here is still too abrupt. So too light, or is that gonna work? Too light. So I don't know if you can see it, but I don't know if that reads any better. This is already splitting out odds and ends. Just frustrating to deal with. Like, nothing against Squidmar and the folks. Actually had a pal on one of my Discord servers that I'm on reach out to him directly to Squidmar for some tips and some feedback. Hasn't really helped me so far, but yeah, I'm not throwing these away. And I'm not, this is total tangent here, but this XL, oh my god, for big work where you actually want the quality of the Kolinsky Sable, this thing has been the bomb. I've done a couple big surface areas. I can't even think what it was for. Anyway, this one I love. The large and the medium, I think I'll figure it out. Abby, chill out. Dogs. Got a slightly darker that I'm pulling across there. This looks like this might be wetter. We'll see how it rolls. Yeah, that's too wet. Had too much paint in the belly. And this consistency I've got now is a bit more like a glaze. Also, I don't have this figure pinned on here, and that is vexing me, so we shall fix that. Big ass paper clip. Let's see, we'll go about like that. Got some of that. Got my drill. The approximately rightish size bit. Oh, already got a hole in here. How deep is that one? Solid. Okay. I'm actually doing this not through that mounting key down here, but off to the side. So I don't want to have that. I think it'll just work out better. Alrighty. And it turns out that is the wrong sized bit. So go to the next size. Why Thin that out a bit. Okay, and then I find that in addition to pinning, some poster putty still helps keep things more better. Oh yeah, way better. Alrighty. Actually, okay, so given my skills, I'm a lot happier with that color, and still see some brush marks in there. And this is a bit splotchy here. So, what do I want to do? I'm going to try to smooth out this area right here to get rid of a few of those brush marks. I need to be a little more careful. Need to focus on the color and also the consistency, because I want good control. I don't want to glaze. Again, I'm trying to do feathering versus glazing. All right, so this is looking a little thin, a little more glazy, but let's give it a go. All right, so I'm trying to pull from the darker area into the lighter. Consistency was not what I was hoping for. Okay. So let's see, but yeah, I can work. Derp. Stop moving around you. So those videos that I linked in the description, one of the most amazing things to me was that black skin isn't really black, it's different browns and slightly different shift, like, you know, using some blue and some more reds than pale skin. Really fascinating bit of learning there. All right, let's see how we're doing here. You know what? I'm pretty happy with that. And so light, my light source from here, hopefully I'm not gonna get the camera in the light in the way of the camera. Let me check that. Okay, so that's a bit in the way, but what I'm trying to show is that light, the lighting source for this comes from the front and to the right, very traditional. When I'm working on lighting, I tend to move the light around a lot and get it down close so that I can see how things are hitting. And having done that, I'm moving the light back out of the way. I'm finding that I actually need more light down this side of the face a bit. So I need to extend this highlight area down some, because let's see how that's reading. Don't know. Oh, that's way too light. Still maybe a little. So I feel like my tones are kind of weird here, looking at this. You know, this is like a light brown versus kind of a yellowy, a more yellow influenced highlight. This brown here is seeming kind of weird on the transition down to this much darker brown that's got, I think, a fair amount of red in it, like down here you can see. So I'm going to go back to my video references and have a look again at some of the color tones there around those transitional zones before I fool around with this anymore. Okay, so looking at the image on the screen, I don't want to change that image has a much narrower highlight section, but what's interesting is the tone of kind of the roll off on the side. I think what I want to do is God, I keep knocking the camera because I'm a putz. Yeah, it looks okay. Alright. So I'm going to experiment bringing a bit more red into this kind of intermediate zone here. So let's fool around there. What's the worst that could happen? Alright, so this is way too much red on the palette. I've learned the hard way that you don't need much red when you're mixing in to have a very significant impact. Looks good on my hand. Let's see how it looks on the figure. Ooh, I think that is going to be an interesting bit of transition zone there. Okay, so now intermediate there. This is looking too wet. Managed to control that okay. Oh boy, that's way too light. Okay. All right, so I've been at this for a bit. I think I'm going to take a break here. Let's have a look at how things have gone. Okay, progress on face. I'm pretty happy. I mean, I still don't have the colors where I want them, but this was really good experimenting around. So it's good progress. Fair on tone, FAFO. I liked, so it's a star, or can put a smiley face too. Good progress on feathering. Smoother strokes. Smoother has 3 O's, right? And as far as work with heavies, happy, for the most part I did with, was happy with damp brush approach. Okay, so I like this red tone here. I think I've got to do something about this too much tan. I don't know, I'm going to have to look at some more reference pictures. But I'm happy with how that is progressing down. So what do I need to improve on more? Tone I need to work on. Smoother strokes need to work on, and just keep getting the reps in. Just got to get the reps in on doing the face work. Really like this piece. Really like this piece. It's a pretty strong story.